Hi, Chris Newman, Truth and Consequences. Today's topic is the mystery of New Zealand's Parliament, our parliamentary, shall we use the word loosely, democracy, and the parliamentary dictatorship. Let's have a look at the situation we're in right now with our nation and with our representation. Representation means you and me have elected somebody, a man or a woman, whatever, who promised to us at election time that they would stand in the Parliament representing our best interests and, of course, embracing the best interests of our lovely Kiwi nation. I've got a little process I've written on the board so we can follow it through and open up the mystery around this question that I guess a lot of Kiwis have about what happened after I voted for so-and-so? What happened after my team got into Parliament and assumed a role in the debating chamber or whatever? What happened to all the hopes and promises of the election? So, you're a Kiwi, we're all Kiwis, we vote for our electoral candidates. Sincerely, we listen to them, and honestly, we do our vote, and all that part of it on the surface is fine, dandy. However, we need to recognise that these elected MPs belong to a party. We don't have any independents operating in the Parliament representing the people. It's all party members, and you know the parties: National Labour, Greens, Maori Party, Winston First, all those different groups. However, the MPs are loyal to their party first. This becomes quite apparent in the enrolment process of the new MP into the party when they're elected. We believe that the MPs contract with the party. They have a contract, an agreement, where they are committed to the party policies and so on and so forth. There is a contract between the MP and the party. So this means that at that point, the MP who was voted in by the people has another loyalty. They are not loyal to the people, they are loyal to the party. And who is the party? Well, the party, of course, is an abstract thing. You've never met a party, but I can assure you that they're run by men and women who have agendas, and you may not see who they are. They're hidden behind the screen, but they are there and they are real. Now, the parties have no loyalty to our nation. Who ever heard of a party sacrificing itself for others? It doesn't happen, it can't happen. So the party, being an abstract thing, it doesn't have any substance, has no loyalty to us, to the nation, to others. It has no heart. It has no inner deep desire to serve others. So the parties have no loyalty. Therefore, party leadership, a lot of these folk we don't see, or if we do, they show us one face. They enter agreements or contracts with outside corporations. Wow. NGOs, other entities like the United Nations, the World Economic Forum. We've all seen that famous video of Jacinda Ardern leaving the headquarters of Vanguard or BlackRock in Manhattan. So the party leadership are in these other agreements. Interesting, isn't it? So the Kiwis who elected these candidates have no representation, and in simple language, we are shafted by our MPs because when we go to them for help, they just fob us off. They're like those call-in radios, callback radio, you know, where you phone them in and you let off your steam, and the guy on the other end or the girl listening nods and is in total agreement with you, and everything seems solved on the radio because everybody heard you give your opinion or my opinion, but it doesn't go any further than there. It's a pressure valve. Those MPs are all functioning as pressure valves because they represent the party and they bow to the party bosses and the party agenda. Maybe you don't believe me. Maybe you find this trouble to think through what's going on. Remember we talked about truth and consequences? What are the consequences of being shafted by our MPs? Well, we end up with this parliamentary dictatorship where the parliament itself starts to dictate the terms to us about our lives, about our freedoms, about our way of being, our families, our children, our education, everything. Instead of the parliament serving us, instead of the MPs serving us, they become part of a parliamentary dictatorship. Maybe you're still struggling with the idea. Let's go a little further. MMP, I've done just a broad math thing here, okay? We've got 120 seats. My maths isn't perfect, but you get the idea. There's 40 on the party list. So that means 40 out of 120 aren't elected by us. Oh, what about the Maori seats? I think there's 4 Maori seats. They're an anachronism, but they are used as a little trading piece at the top to move and shift margins. So now we've got 44 of them because they aren't representing the people of New Zealand. Wow, now we've got 70 odd who are so-called elected. Now we just discussed earlier how we go and do our little vote and it's all election. But after the election, the figures are fed through an electronic algorithm. So the sum of this business here, MMP, is that there is no truly democratic process. Because a democratic process must involve all of us transparently getting what we vote for and the voting being transparent and our representatives being accountable. However, that is not happening. So there is no truly democratic process. We have a parliamentary dictatorship. Let's look at it in another simple way. You know the old Venn diagram? We've got it up here. Here's the little group of Kiwis. Here's the parliament and the parties. And here's the outsiders. Now you might say to me, Chris, how come you've got the outsiders overlapping with the Kiwis? Haven't you heard of the media? Mass advertising? Mass psychology? Propaganda? All this globalism and internationalism leaks into our lives and affects us. These guys have an interest in keeping the population here stupefied. These MPs in the party have an interest in keeping the population deceived. So we have the substance of tyranny at the centre here. Tyranny. Dictatorship by the parliament. Solution. Well, the consequence of this sort of system that we've now figured out is the destruction of our traditional British common law rights guaranteed to us by the treaty. Guaranteed by the treaty because we are subjects of the Queen or the King, whatever, and that means forget Charles, forget Queen Victoria. The point is on the higher level, we have the rights which don't come from the Parliament, they come from our ancient traditions. So, the solution. We know that the parties can't correct themselves. The MPs are too feeble and weak. They've already been compromised. These globalists and outsiders don't give a toss. The solution is grassroots people power. Binding referenda. How does this process get set up so that we take back our power that's been stolen or that we've carelessly given to others? That's another topic. However, I think that I have proven to you through this simple process of analysis what is the problem and what is the solution. There are consequences to knowing the truth, and I invite you to think more deeply about the value of your vote and how you're going to use it, because maybe you need to vote for something other than what the parties and the people are telling you. and their mad elections, you don't have to vote for them. You can vote for other things with your money, with your time, with your effort, with your commitment, with your love of the truth and your willingness to stand for something other than the things that they're telling you to stand for, and stand for your own family, for your nation, for your people, stand before God and deal with the consequences of living the truth. Thank you. Chris Newman, Truth and Consequences.